All right, we're working on the 1992 Dodge Dakota LE, and I got the starter out. And I started thinking, well, maybe I could use a guide bolt, to put in the new one. I was going to use that because originally the bottom hole had, it would have went like this into the transmission case, only it would have been threaded and probably about that long. And then what would happen is you'd put a nut on the other side. So that would serve as, both your fastener and a guide to put the starter in with. And I was thinking, boy, it sure would be a lot easier if I had that. But after putting in the new transmission in and engine, I lost it during that time period. And I thought I seen it one day, but I haven't found it again. But then I couldn't get the guide pin started. So then I realized the threads were bad. And I should have been able to put in a longer bolt before. So this is probably a big part of the problem that I'm having. And I couldn't. Okay, I think. Okay. As you can see, there's not much room for work in here. Alright, I can see the hole there. Right there. And I can see my I couldn't get the tap to come in from the front side here. So I started it from the back because the threads go all the way through the transmission case. And I'm really starting to cut now. But I'm thinking about, that's probably about enough for today. Alright, so there's a better view of it. That's my tap, which I'm putting in from the back side. I'm gonna have to go in a lot farther, and it's really starting to cut now. And I'm lucky, kind of, that that's aluminum. It makes the cutting a little easier. But anyway, so when I get done, I'll be able to put a bolt in the bottom that's longer, and it'll do a lot better job. Can also use like thread lock and lock washer. In fact, I think I'll use both. I do have a new starter coming. So we'll go ahead and put the new one in. And I definitely think that's a big part of the problem, but it's probably not helping our starter out any as far as the lifetime of it goes. If the bolts are coming out. And it's mostly the bottom one that starts the problem. What I was noticing here, yeah, back there it is on the bottom one. You can see how you can almost see some thread in it, but that's because it's been knocking around on the bolts that are loose. I guess you can maybe, I see it more on the bottom, but I can kind of see that on the top, but not much. It looks like it kind of got beat into it here on the bottom one. So that's probably what was shortening the life of my starters, because all I could get in the bottom was a bolt that long, and then it was easily working its way out. Whereas the original, this I believe is the original top bolt, and I'm wondering, it looks like pretty close match, don't it? Maybe use that for the bottom. Yeah, I think that might be a close match right there for the bottom. In fact, they could have got put into this, my 7/16 pile over here. for that very reason. I probably lost track of where it went. But I remember that I couldn't get the original back in there, and I went ahead and went with this because I couldn't get that in and get it tight. It would just hang out because the threads were screwed up. But now it's going to take a little while to finish that up, so I'll come back at a later time and we'll get it so we can put the original bolts back in. I'm not sure this is the original, but it looks like that one. I was pretty sure it had a piece sticking out this way, you know, and then you put a thread on it. Anyway, so that's what I seen in a book. That could be my original, but I saw in a book they were doing it the other way, and that's how I come up with the idea of using a guide pin for the bottom, you know, and then sliding your starter onto that, which would be that part sticking out and going into here. Then putting the top bolt in. I thought, boy, that sure would make it nicer. A lot easier. Alright, so this is John Rudy with Rudy Racing, signing off.